Welcome back. Welcome back to From the Shed and welcome back to another video, another live stream, another chance for us to look at the transfer news related to Chelsea Football Club. Before we do that, as always, please make sure if you haven't already, and I keep checking analytics so I know who has and who hasn't, but if you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000. So I think we're about 30 subscribers away from the 1,000 subscribers mark. So if you haven't already, if you're one of those people, the 83% of you that are watching this channel and you haven't subscribed, please make sure you smash the subscribe button before you do anything else on this live stream. Please make sure you do that. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to unpick. There's a lot to unfold. There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of transfer talk. We're going to try and unpick it all in this live stream this morning, this Wednesday morning. So I hope you grabbed your coffee. Hope you've I just hope you're ready because there's a lot to get involved in. There's a lot to talk about. Um, let's start with the news that is clearly the one that's making a lot of noise at the moment, and that is around Xavi Simons, who is currently at RB Leipzig, a player that is, some will say, is not required at Chelsea. Some will say that we do need him. Some will say that we potentially need a player of that caliber to alleviate some of that pressure from Cole Palmer. I'll be honest, I've always been a favorite of his. I like the way that he plays his football. Xavi Simons, I think he's a good player. My problem is that we do have players in that role already. I would theoretically think he's playing as a 10. So I think that's Cole Palmer's role. But one thing we did get to see, and one thing I've been talking about so much with Cole Palmer, is that I think he's better off the right of the attack. I think he can play. Obviously, Cole Palmer can play across the whole front three. He can play as a false nine. But I think he's most effective from the right hand side. Now, that might free up the Cole Palmer, as it is now, the Cole Palmer role, the 10 role that he's playing at the moment for Chelsea. But one thing it also might do, tactically, I think we bring in Xavi Simons because I think this tactically gives Maresca other options. It gives Maresca something else to work with in terms of the tactic and in terms of what he wants to try and do. I'm not against it. I'm really not against it. Let's see what the latest is for Xavi Simons because apparently at the moment there is a lot of talk about Simons and whether he's going to join the club. Now, apparently, he wants to move. He wants to move. This is according to a lot of sources, including Fabrizio Romano. There's a lot of other talk about this move yesterday, but this is the latest that we have. This is 2 hours ago, early this morning. So, understands Chelsea are advancing in talks with Xavi Simons on personal terms. Xavi keen on the move and open to joining Chelsea. Direct talks in progress to agree contract details and terms. Chelsea want to be fast ahead of club to club talks with Leipzig. I don't think personal terms. Now, from what I'm hearing and from what I'm seeing and from what I'm reading, this deal will not be a problem. Simons wants to move. Personal terms should not be a problem. As we know, our club are quite strict on the structure of the wages. So they want, you have to fall in line with the wage structure as it is. I think he will. And we're honest. Last night I was reading that RB Leipzig know that Xavi Simons wants to leave the club. He doesn't want to be at the club anymore. I don't think Leipzig currently have Champions League football. I think they can get Champions League football for the qualifiers. I think they play tonight against Brown in the qualifiers. But um, if they don't get that, in fact, no, that's Salzburg. That's Salzburg. I don't think Leipzig have got Champions League this season. So maybe that's a big factor. Maybe that's a massive factor as to why he wants to move. He wants to play Champions League football. It's one of the things that we can give him. We can give him Champions League football next season. Now, I don't think personal terms are going to be an issue for this player. I really don't. I think he's a good player. We'll talk about his stats and what he can probably bring to the club in a minute, but I don't think he'll be an issue. Now, the key thing to add to this, which is almost the story below, which again was reported again last night, very, very late, was that Chelsea's position on Carney Chukwuemeka remains clear, as revealed 2 days ago, only permanent sale. Borussia Dortmund have only offered a loan so far. and RB Leipzig are now also keen on the deal, as already reported. Now, it's a shame to see Carney Chukwuemeka go because I think we've always said, whilst he's been at Chelsea, he has potential to be a very good player. The problem being is I don't think he's good enough to be at Chelsea. I don't think he's good enough. I don't think when you look at the players that we're bringing in now and the players that we're letting go, we're looking at Joao Felix, we're looking at maybe Christopher Nkunku, Raheem Sterling. You look at certain players that are coming in, Estevao, Kendry Payers, so many different players. Now we've got Gittins in the team as well. So there's loads of players competing. And even if you're looking at midfield areas, the roles that we're looking at, now we're looking at Xavi Simons as well. I just don't see where Carney Chukwuemeka fits into our squad. I don't know how he gets game time. I just don't know. So I look at him and I think this could be the sweetener for RB Leipzig. This could be a sweetener for them. This could be something we can offer them to get this deal done. If we can get that deal done, if we can get this deal done, I'm impressed with it. I'll be impressed so far with the window. I still think we need a left back. I still think ideally, if we do, and we're going to talk about Trevor Chalobah later on, if we do sell Trevor Chalobah, I think we need to bring in another centre back. If we don't sell Trevor Chalobah, I wouldn't be confident going into the season with the centre backs that we have, but I would be more confident with Trevor Chalobah being there. I'll make it make sense later. But Xavi Simons, let's look at his stats. His stats aren't that bad. His stats are actually not that bad. His stats are really not that bad. Let's go back because obviously he was at PSG. He came through the ranks there. He didn't obviously get many games, but notably, this is the one that you want to sort of pick up on. 48 games, 22 goals, 11 assists. That is in the 22-23 season. Now, anyone that knows me knows I'm not just a stats guy. I'm not just a stats guy. In fact, if I'm being honest, I actually hate stats. I don't really look at them, and I'd rather watch the football, and that will tell you the true reflection of the player. But just looking at these stats, let's just look at them for a second. 48 games, 22 goals, 11 assists. That's some going. And bearing in mind, I mean, at this point, he's what, 19, 18, 19 at this point, at 22, 23. And he's pulling out numbers there. Now, people will say it's the Dutch league, it's not that good, it's this, it's that, there's only a couple of teams in there that can compete. But to still do that on that stage, that level against some really good teams. And then you fly over to Germany, RB Leipzig, last season, or the season before last, sorry, 23-24, 43 games, 10 goals, 13 assists. It's not too shabby. Now, it's not as good as when he was at PSV, but it's still not too shabby. And you have to remember, he's coming up against probably better competition now. He's played in the Champions League. That's another big selling factor for us. We know we need players that have played at that level. Xavi Simons is one of them. I think we have, when you look at our players now, you look at Reece James, there's not many. There's not many players in that team that have played for Champions League level in our squad at the moment. So there's players that have played in international tournaments and won them. But I'm talking in terms of the European Champions League, the new format as it is, there's not many players that we've had that have played in that format. So if we can get players that have played there, they understand it, they know what to expect. That's why I said last season, the Conference League was actually probably a good thing for us to get that European experience, understand what it's like to travel abroad and play abroad with this set of players that we've got. But to get Xavi Simons in there, who can score goals, who can create and get assists, that's good numbers for me. They're very good numbers. Last season just gone. Again, I don't know whether he had an injury because he's obviously played 33 games. So that would tell me that he's had an injury. But even to add to that, with the injury, he still manages to score 11 goals and create 8 assists. He only played 2,762 minutes last season. I'm not against this at all. I am not against this guy at all. Look at that, 28 shots on target last season, 40 shots on target. Yeah, this is someone that I think for me, we need to seriously try and get this done because Of course, Arsenal are waiting in the wings. We know that. There's a lot of talk about Arsenal potentially trying to get him. Now, if they do get him, which I hope they don't, but if they do get him, that for me would be, I mean, it would be a massive blow to us. It'd be a massive, massive blow. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think. Um, Feels in the comments section already. Haven't watched much of him, but he did stand out in the Euros last summer, scoring that banger versus England. I remember that. That was a brilliant goal. Massive goal for Holland at the time. Um, Not too shabby, not too shabby. I love it. We could make that into a chant. We could make that into one of our the terraces. I'm sure there'll be people coming up with songs there. But he's a massive upgrade on Kunku, Felix, Estevao, and time will tell. I think he's definitely against Chukwuemeka. Estevao, of course, is a TBC. We don't know because we need to see him play a consistent run of games. But and Kunku, well, let's talk about Joao Felix. Joao Felix for me has always been a player that I've loved at Chelsea Football Club, and I think it's a shame for him because I don't think obviously the loan when we first got him a couple of seasons ago, that I felt like was the time when he could have showcased his potential. We could have got to see what he could do. The deal for him to come back theoretically was only a deal done to make sure that Conor Gallagher left Chelsea Football Club. I don't think he wanted to move. I don't think we wanted to bring him back to football to Chelsea Football Club. I think we literally just wanted to get pure profit out of Conor Gallagher, who's actually done amazing at Atletico as well. But we just wanted to get him off the books. I don't think we wanted Joao Felix. And I think from the moment he came through the door for the second stint at Chelsea, it was never going to work for him. The fact he went on loan to AC Milan and it didn't really work for him there. And he's now we're talking about, I think we're talking in the region of 50 million to get him back to Benfica or there or thereabouts. Um, it's a strange one. So I don't think Felix will be here. Estevao, I think will if we bring in Xavi Simons, I think we will potentially see Estevao get a loan deal. I hope I'm wrong about that because I think I'd love to see him impact Chelsea this season. I think we waited this long for him. It'll be the same for Quenda when we eventually get him in the next couple of in the next season or so. And Nkunku's an odd one because I think Nkunku will get a move. Is he an upgrade on all four of those players? I would say yes to Carney Chukwuemeka. I would say maybe Nkunku Felix are at his level, and Estevao is a definite TBC, a massive TBC. But I'm confident we can get this deal done. One thing I want to say as well about one thing I want to say, Fields is putting here as well. Massive shame, wasn't given a chance under Maresca. Clearly, it was a club decision and not the manager's decision to bring him in. I think that's about Joao Felix, and I agree with that. I think Joao Felix has got loads of quality. He's such a good player. Um, it's a shame for him because I think he's still quite young as well. So it's not like he's coming to the end of his career and he's still got so much to give and so much potential, and he still hasn't hit a ceiling. I don't think at Chelsea in his career beyond Chelsea. I think he'll get more game time elsewhere. If it's back at Benfica, then so be it. But I think he'll do well. Um, One thing I want to talk about though with Simons is that I think he'll give competition to certain players in our squad. So maybe not because he's better than them, but I think he'll definitely challenge for a spot. And I always said when I look at certain clubs and they bring in backup players, we don't really do that as such. Well, we do, but I think in all areas we really want to have two players. We want two players that can compete for one position in all areas of the pitch. That includes our goalkeeper, that includes our strikers, that includes our defensive line, the midfield. I'm always going to say this, but I think our midfield is one of the best in the world. I think our midfield is probably the one area of the pitch I don't think we even need to consider or talk about or touch or mention or anything like that is our midfield. Our midfield is so solid. I think it could go up against any midfield. I can't think of another midfield in the world that is as good as ours. Enzo, Caicedo, Lavia on his day are three of the best. So I don't think we need to touch the midfield. I think the attacking options, I think we need to consider those. Obviously, we've got Jamie Gittins coming in. Means Tariq George potentially will be losing a lot of game time, maybe get a loan deal for him. But it will give competition to the likes of Cole Palmer. Now, if Nkunku does stay, there's talk maybe he can play on the left, he can play in the 10, but it'll give competition. It will give competition. Let's be honest as well. Look, we all praise Cole Palmer because of his moments in the games in the Club World Cup, especially in the final, and moments in the Premier League. But let's be honest, he didn't have the greatest of seasons last season. He could have done so much better. You know, so you think about those moments where we needed a Cole Palmer moment. We needed that Cole Palmer that was prolific under Maurizio Pochettino. We needed that Cole Palmer. We never got him throughout the season. He had moments, but he wasn't consistent. I think if you bring someone in that is going to level him, he's going to challenge him, he's going to put him, you know, under a lot of pressure, not in a competitive way, in a way that you want to see your players be pushed to the limits. I think we'll see the best out of Cole Palmer. I think we see the best out of Cole Palmer. I think we really do. And I think if we do see the best out of Cole Palmer, we'll see the best out of Xavi Simons as well. Because I think for me personally, they go hand in hand. They're two players um, that we need. We really do need. Now, let's talk about Christopher Nkunku. Let's see the latest on Nkunku because it looks still like he is on the way out. Now, this is a story that has been bubbling and bubbling and bubbling away for months. You know, you think back to halfway through the season, I think there was talk about him potentially going in the January transfer window last season. But it says here, Fabrizio again confirming that Christopher Nkunku's exit from Chelsea this summer remains almost guaranteed. Nkunku wants to play more with several top clubs keen in the background. Chelsea are open to selling him this. Oh, so it's been selling since January, as I said. So they wanted to sell him since January. So it's a tricky one because I think with Nkunku, it's weird because Nkunku was getting some brilliant minutes. He was getting a lot of game time in that Club World Cup. And let's be honest, he was using the game time. It wasn't like he wasn't using the game time. He was using the game time very, very well. Um, I just think, with Nkunku, he just hasn't been given opportunity to do what we expected him to do from when he was at Leipzig. And that's the worry. I think, do you cash in? I mean, the conversations that we're hearing is that Chelsea really are pushing for this move now. They've reduced, I think, his transfer. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, they've reduced his transfer fee down to I think around the region of 50 million. I'm trying to find the particular tweet that mentioned it, but let me see if I can find it because there's a tweet that came out yesterday or this morning, I think, and it mentions a couple of the Chelsea players in there, and I'm pretty sure. Um, let's see if we can find it. I'm not against selling Nkunku at all. I think if he's got to go, he's got to go. But here we go. Found the tweet. So this is this is this is almost amazing, but crazy at the same time. Because let's start with Nkunku. So it says here, this is Simon Johnson as part of the Athletic. It says Chelsea have dropped their asking price by 22 million for Christopher Nkunku, who has admirers in the Premier League, Italy, and Germany. In January, Chelsea valued the French international at 65 million, a figure that has now been cut to 50 million euros, which is around 43.3 million pounds. It tells me two things. It tells me there's a sense of desperation from Chelsea Football Club to get rid of him. It also tells me that clubs realistically are never going to be paying 65 million or 70 million in that region for him. This tells me the cut price is almost a last ditch attempt to get rid of him, to sell him. I think I said maybe in a Club World Cup that this is one of the reasons why I think we were playing him, because I think it's almost like here's what you can get. Let's put him in a shop window. Let's prove to other clubs, other clubs that want to sign him, that he has got some potential. And he actually done well in the Club World Cup. But let's be honest, the Premier League club I think we can talk about is maybe, I think it might be Manchester United. The Italy club, I think potentially could be maybe a Juventus, Napoli, maybe in Germany. Is it Bayern? Is it Bayern? The Leipzig won him again. Um, Look, I mean, we brought him in for a fee. I think 43.3 million. If we can get that for Nkunku off the back of what's been a sort of horrible time for him at Chelsea, he hasn't been, as I said, the Nkunku that we thought we were going to get. If we can get that sort of money for him, I'm not against it. I'm not against it at all. I think it's a good. I think the problem with Nkunku is that if he was to go to another club, you can guarantee he's scoring goals. You can guarantee he's going to pick up exactly where he left off at Leipzig. I think sometimes things just don't work at a particular club. And this is why when I talk about other clubs and, I talk about Ekatike at Liverpool now, and I talk about other players, just because they're doing it in a different league, it doesn't mean they come to the Premier League and do it. And Nkunku is a prime example of that. He is an exact example of why I say about players who come to this league and they struggle. They find it hard to blend in the pace of the game, the physicality of the Premier League. It's a totally different. If you watch Serie A, you watch Liga football, you'll see the difference in the football. And when you come to the Premier League, you've just got to hit the ground running. And if you don't, you find it hard. I don't think this is purely down to Nkunku. I think this is down to the managers that he's had under his time at Chelsea, not really giving him that consistent run of games. He did have a moment, I think, if you remember back to, I think it was under Maresca, and he had a couple of games back to back, and I thought, this is your moment to just do something. It was off the back, I'm sure he was playing in the Conference League, and then he was playing in some of the Premier League games, and he just didn't do it. He just didn't do it. He wasn't doing enough. There was talk. I remember a lot of us, I think even I said it, that we thought he played his last game for Chelsea a couple of months ago, but he sort of fought himself back into the lineup. But I just think 43.3 million, knowing that we're bringing in other players as well that will be playing in particular positions that he will be potentially occupying, I think you have to take the 43.3 million, and if you can get that, snatch someone's hand off for it, because I think why not? Um, Joao Felix, we just spoke about him before. Saudi Pro League clubs and one large club, Benfica, are also interested in him. Chelsea are looking to sell the 25-year-old attacker for 50 million. I mean, and that's including add-ons as well. So if we can get that deal, one thing I will say about our owners, I think I said it the other day, we know how to sell players. We know how to sell players. We know how to make profit. I think, if I remember correctly, I think I read that we're close to 500 million. I think it's like 490 million in player sales since 22-23 season. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Some of them, of course, we don't agree with. The Petrovic selling Conor Gallagher the way that we did. We don't agree with all of them. But when you look at a Joao Felix who hasn't hit the ground running, who hasn't been, you know, amazing for Chelsea, just hasn't been given the opportunity, and someone will come in for he's 25. Someone will come in for 50 million. Benfica is a very good option for him. He knows the club very well. The Saudi Pro League, I just think at 25, would you want to go over there at that point? Would you want to go? Yes, the money would be good, lucrative money, but 25 years of age, you just don't want to go over there and not ruin your career, but that opportunity for Saudi will come back up. If he goes to Benfica and he does well there and he goes to another club, maybe he comes back to the Premier League for one last attempt elsewhere, then you go to the Saudi Pro League, I think. But look, 50 million euros is, and that's again including add-ons, is a bargain. It's well done for us. If we can get that, I mean, look, the sellers of Chelsea Football Club are very good at their job. They need a pay rise. So if we can get that done, we get it done. Now, the other bit of news is Bayern Munich were front runners for Renato Veiga. Things have changed for the 21-year-old, as it says here. Atletico Madrid have joined Bayern Munich and one Premier League club in the race for the 21-year-old defender Renato Veiga. Chelsea want a minimum of 40 million euros. Now, I almost feel embarrassed that we're asking that much from him because I'm pretty sure I think we signed him for like 14 million from Basel. So, I mean, and let's be honest, he hasn't done amazing. He didn't do it. He was okay at Juve. I don't think he had that much of an impact there, but he hasn't really done much. If you remember, he fell out with, or he demanded that he wanted to play centre back rather than left back. We know that he can play in the midfield. He can play as at DM in the midfield as well. But it goes back to my point. Our club are good at buying players to loan them out to then make double plus on what you bought him for. So I think Atletico will get him. I think Atletico need a centre back. He wants to play centre back. He said when he was at Chelsea that was his preferred role, to play as a centre back. Atletico Madrid need a centre back. So do Bayern Munich. Interesting to know who that one Premier League club is. I'll be honest. I want to be against him going. I think he's got potential, but the one thing I will say actually is that if we let him go, we have to bring in a left back because Ben Chilwell will go. Renato Veiga was theoretically the backup to the last chance saloon option at left back for us. If he goes, if he goes, we have to bring in a left back. And let's be honest, if we can recoup, which I think is what's that? Say 50-50, 40. So that's about say what about 150 in player sales. We'll talk about Sterling in a second, but that's about 150 in player sales. We can bring in a left back. If we get this Xavi Simons deal done, and then we bring in a left back, my only worry is we don't have the goalkeeper. We don't have a goalkeeper. That's a conversation for another day, but we don't have a goalkeeper. But if we can get rid of these players, because they have to go, Vega is not in the plans. Felix is not in the plans. And Nkunku looks like he could fight for a place, but I think he'll take the easy route and go. But Renato Vega has to go. And if he does go, we have to bring in a left back. There's no point keeping players at this club who do not want to be there, two, are not in their manager's plans, and three, if the owners want to make profit on them, now's the time to do it. You leave it another season, you're not getting 40 million for Renato Vega. It's just not happening. So if you're going to get rid of these players now, this is the season to do it. This is the summer window to do it now. Raheem Sterling, the man that crossed the River of London and came back embarrassed. Raheem Sterling began pre-season training last week, and a Champions League club in Europe is keen to sign him. An offer of £20 million will be accepted. I'd love to know whoever that Champions League club is. I will personally buy, if this deal goes through, I will personally buy their football top. I will buy their football top. As long as it's not Barcelona, I will buy their football top. Whoever you are, whichever Champions League club you are in Europe, I will personally go down on the M6. I will get Raheem Sterling. I'll pack all his bags for him. I'll drive him to the nearest airport. I'll put him on the plane. I'll take him off the plane. I'll drive him to the training ground or wherever he's got to go. Then I'll go to the club shop and I'll buy the top because this guy has to get out of the club. 300 grand plus a week, attitude like a farm full of shit. Yeah, he's got to go. He's got to go. I'll take the 20 million. The fact that we're allowing 20 million for Raheem Sterling, to get him gone. I wouldn't even allow him at pre-season training. Some might say why the hostility towards him. Attitude stinks. Attitude stinks. This is a player that should be leading by example. This is a player that should be showing some of these younger players. We've said it before. We've said it before. This is somewhere where we should be talking about someone who should be leading by example. He should be showing the younger players what it means to play for this club. Now, I'm not saying because Sterling's a Chelsea through and through. What I'm saying is he's the oldest player, or one of the oldest players in the club. He should be showing us the players by example, what they should be doing. He's not doing any of that. He's not doing any of that. He's allowing himself to make it all about him. I don't like that. I generally don't like that. Let's go into some of the chats here and let's see what the chat's saying. Um, yeah, here we go. With Newcastle. This goes back to my point. If we let him go to, I personally, if Nkunku leaves, and I was the owners, I would allow him to go to a club away from the Premier League. I think I said it about Nicolas Jackson on the podcast last week. You can't strengthen someone like Newcastle. Nkunku is not a bad player. He's a very, very good player. He needs the right guidance, the right opportunities to play his football. He was never going to get that at Chelsea. If we let him go to Newcastle, let him go to United or one of those clubs, yeah, it's not good at all, man. It's not good at all. Um, Rich money makers, big up the legend. I'll warn you, our stupid sporting director Win Stanley's pushing for Garnacho. Um, yeah, there's a reason why I don't talk about Garnacho. Um, yeah, just don't talk about him. But again, look, there's a lot of talk about who we're gonna get. Let's see what we're saying here. Cucurella, Enzo, Caicedo aside, all our recent signings seem to stay at the club 1.5 to 2 years max, sometimes even less for some. Veiga and Felix. For me, this is worrying. It is. But I think this is the model. I think this is the new model that the club want. And I don't agree with it at all, but this is a buy to sell model where you bring in a player. If 6 months down the line, it doesn't seem like it's working, or 12 months down the line, they move him on. I'm not with it, but I'm not against it either because that's how we ended up in a position where we had so many players. If you remember back out on loan, um, like Malang Sarr, I think was like the last of that breed of players that was like out on loan, but he just never was going to get an opportunity. And then he ended up terminating contracts, and Ross Barkley ended up being the same. So I think I'm not against it, but I don't agree with it either. So I'm kind of a little bit on the fence. What I think needs to happen is I think the sporting directors, the scouting department, they need to do their due diligence a little bit better, rather than just keep buying and throwing shit at a wall and hoping that it sticks. Do your due diligence, do your scouting properly. Do that starting that part of the do that part of your recruitment properly. Because if you do that part properly, you're not in a position where two years down the line you're having to sell, a Felix or a Vega just because it hasn't worked out. If you do the scouting properly and you do the research on your players and you acquire what you actually need at the club, that should dwindle down to maybe 2 or 3 players every other season that you're doing that to, not 6 or 7. So I agree with Theo there. There's a lot of players that we are kind of continually, moving on very quickly at a rapid pace. But I also think I'd rather they do that than keep loaning them out, and then we either get a really crap fee for them, 2 or 3 years down the line, or we let them go on a free. So I get it a little bit. I do get it a little bit. Um, yeah, it's a good point. A lot of people I speak to have had enough of Winstanley. I've been told that Tosin is very safe. Trevor Chalobah is just nah, I don't agree with that. Trevor Chalobah is just safe, but a good offer comes in, he will be sold. I agree with that bit. I don't think Trevor Chalobah is safe at all. I don't think Trevor Chalobah is safe at all. I think Trevor Chalobah hasn't been safe for about 4 years at Chelsea Football Club. I think he's always one of those names that's always been mentioned every single summer window about leaving. I, I think it purely comes down to the club clearly just want to sell him for pure profit. Because don't forget, there's only going to be so many of them now. Obviously, you've got the Achi and Pongs to eat Georges that are coming through the ranks, but the players that are there now, you look at Reece James and you look at Trevor Chalobah. I think every other player that's kind of in the first team that came through the ranks at Chelsea, I think they've all been sold. So I think Trevor Chalobah and Reece James are the only two that you could maybe make a significant amount of money from at the moment. I think that's the only reason why they want him to go. I don't think it's because of his ability or his capability of playing football. Because we got to see in a Club World Cup, we got to see last season, Trevor Chalobah is amazing. He's an amazing centre back. He's an amazing centre back. The fact that we're even considering letting him go to anywhere, whether it's Crystal Palace, whether it's another rival club, whether it's abroad, it doesn't matter to me. The fact we're letting him go is crazy to me because I think he's been one of our best, not even just a player, but even off the field. This is a guy that got told he can't train with the first team. He can't go on the preseason tour last season. This is a player that we kind of let just walk out the club to go to Crystal Palace, who put in a good performance at Crystal Palace week in, week out. Didn't have to recall him. No fuss, no issues with him. Just came back, got on with his job, helped us win trophy, helped us win the Club World Cup. And we're still in this situation where we're talking about potentially selling him. So yeah, I think he's never going to be safe until he signs like, and even if he signs a long-term contract, I still don't think he's safe because look at Nani Madueke, he had 5 years left on his deal. It doesn't Contracts don't mean anything now. Um, Man Augusto is not being sold. Don't think that was going to happen anyway. I think he stays. Um, we really need Sterling gone. I agree. I think more so for the wage. I think for the wages, he's definitely someone that is just, yeah, he's just, yeah, he's taking too much money. Um, to buy Leverkusen. I'm guessing that's in terms of one of the players that's going. Yeah, I agree with this as well. Sterling is stopping us from signing elite players, and then we might buy a proper player with high wages. Yeah, I think he is and he isn't. I think we're still buying, and when I say elite, I don't. Because again, there's not many elite players I think that would come directly to Chelsea as we are at the moment. I think we still need to progressively build back up to that reputation, the reputational sort of level of Chelsea where we were, where we were dominating the Premier League, back to back, all that sort of stuff. Um, my worry is that he's on big wages, and I think that's the key factor. I think that will be potentially why we haven't gone for like an Osman or for someone like that. I just don't think whilst we have someone like Sterling, maybe even a Ben Chilwell, who I don't think is on that much money, but he must be on about 170, 180 a week. Um, those sort of players, they have to go because they're not in the manager's plans. So you're talking near enough 500 grand a week on wages. They have to go. They have to be gone. They have to be sold. Um, Just in Newcastle will not pay for Christian Nkunku wages. I repeat, that's good news. We'll have to see. I mean, anything can change. Anything can change, especially if they do lose Isak as well. Sunday owners, it's stupid one director, and at least Egbali is saying no to Garnacho. I don't think we get Garnacho. I don't see where Garnacho fits into this team. Jamie Gittins is coming. We still have, as it stands, Tui George. Pedro Neto can play there. If we keep Cole and Kuku, he can play there. I don't see where he fits in. I don't see, and we have Quenda coming next season. So I don't know where Garnacho fits in. I don't think the only reason I think we would have signed him is if we didn't get the Gittins deal done. And it doesn't seem like we're pushing to sign him. It's not like we're trying to get the deal done. There's a lot of talk about Jackson going to United. That's now cooled down from this morning. I don't think it happens. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know where that go. Well, I don't know if it happens. If it happens, I'll be shocked, but I don't think it happens. Don't forget if you're here and you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Um, Make sure you subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of this week. So what day is today? Wednesday. Make sure you subscribe. We're on 977 subscribers. So if you're part of the live stream and you haven't subscribed already, make sure you subscribe. Give it a thumbs up. Give the video a like as well. Don't forget, mini documentary series is also on our channel. So if you haven't, again, myself and Theo, we've been doing that throughout the month of July. We've still got another week to go. Some good players coming up. And make sure you check out the mini documentary series on our channel after this as well. Big up Calvin as well, Billions. Calvin Billions. We need Simons ASAP. I think that deal gets done. I'd say by the end of the week. I reckon it gets done by the end of the week. I think the fact that we're moving at a rapid, and again, something we need to credit the owners for. When they want something, they get it done. They get it done. Pedro Neto was done. Joao Pedro done. Caicedo done. Enzo done. We just got it. There's none of this sort of like Arsenal. You know, Arsenal have only, I think they've only just announced, or have they even announced Zubimendi? I don't even know. But anyway, look how long it takes them to do deals. And Gyökeres, look how long it took them to do that deal. Um, Noni Madweki, look how long it took them to do that deal, get it all done. With us, we get it done. If we want a player, there's no like beating around the bush. We'll just get it done. So I think that deal will be done very, very quickly. I think we'll get it done. Um, yeah, I think we will. I think we'll get that done. 100%. Rich money makers is saying this will piss you off. Well, Stanley doesn't care shit what the board members, us fans, and he's really pissing me off myself. Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, this is one of the things that I'm taking into this new season is that I think obviously, look, results weren't good last season. Results could have been a lot better. Yes, we did get Champions League football. We won the Club World Cup and the Conference League, but in terms of individual games and the performances, they weren't good enough. I think from a fan's perspective, my thing this season is to focus, because what I did last season, stupidly, was I focused so much on things that were happening off the field. It made me resent the football that we were actually trying to play on the pitch. Because if you look back, I was watching the Chelsea, what's it called? Like the highlights basically of all of last season. And some of our games were really good. It was just one little thing was missing, or we just were very unlucky, or a little defensive mistake cost us the game. But if you look at the overall football that we played last season, based that from Potter to Pochettino to Maresca, is a massive step up. But I was clouded last season because I was more concerned about what was happening off the field, you know, ownership, all of that. Look, we can't change Paul and Stanley and Lawrence Stew. They're there. If they're there, they're there. If they move on, they move on. We can't change that. Can we be annoyed about it? 100%, but we can't change it. So I can't, I'm not this season, 100%, I'm not focusing or channeling my energy on sporting directors, owners. They're not going to change. So we either get on board with what they're trying to do, or we just focus on the football. And I think that's the thing for me this season. It's not to get too bogged down with um, what the sporting directors are doing. Like I said, I think for me, sporting directors, the scouts, all that scouting network, they have to get the scouting right in order to stop buying players to sell them on. If they keep doing that and you're hemorrhaging money on player sales, on player purchases, or sorry, then you have to make sure that your player sales are just as good. So if they're not, eventually you're not going to balance out your books. Then that PSR thing comes into play and all that nonsense. So, yeah, make sure you check out the Chelsea Legend series as well. We're on, what day is it today? My watch isn't even on. It's day 23. So I'm not going to give away who it is today, actually. But Williams is out. Williams is a very good one. If you haven't already, that was yesterday. We also had Matic as our Chelsea legend for day 21. Diego Costa's day 19. So make sure if you haven't, you check that out. As I said, there's a couple of you here now that I can see in the live. So if you're here, leave your thoughts in the comments, like the video. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Um, yeah, I mean, this is what we need to be doing a lot more of. The transfer news is going to be coming up obviously a lot over the next couple of weeks. Let's see what comes of today. I'm sure we'll see a lot more development around Xavi Simons. I want him. I personally, I think he'll be good. I think if we can get him, I think it'd be good. Um, yeah, I just think we need to be realistic though. Let's be realistic about why we need the players, not just because we want them. Let's be realistic. Let's see what other news is coming out of Chelsea, man. Let's see what else is here because there'll be news. I feel like this is the season where we're not back. We're definitely not back, but we're on the road to being back. We're on that road to competing. Competing for what I don't know yet, but I feel like we should be competing for the Premier League. Um, there we go. Look, this is what I'm saying. Renato Veiga is pushing to join Atletico and wants to move ASAP. This is what it's saying. This is the latest on Renato Veiga. Um, let's have a look. I want him gone. To be fair, my thing is this: if a player is at Chelsea Football Club and they don't want to stay at Chelsea Football Club, then I don't want them. I generally don't want them at the club. This is the latest on Renato Veiga. Now he wants the move. He's pushing for the move. Um, it's annoying a little bit because you want players that are going to be at the club. You want players that want to play for the badge and fight for the place. Now, that's a role. Now, I get he wants to play centre back. There's an opportunity there. There's no guarantee that Wesley, for me, there's no guarantee that Wesley Fofana is going to be the Wesley Fofana that we signed 2 or 3 years ago. There's no guarantee. I mean, he's had two massive injuries. He had a massive injury. I think he had two massive injuries at Leicester. He's had two at Chelsea so far. There's no guarantee that he's going to be the defender that we think he is. So there's opportunity for Renato Veiga to potentially force his way in somehow, some way into the defensive line at Chelsea. Failing that, we know if we don't sign a left back, he's going to get game time next season because we can't play Cucurella all season. We know that Ben Chilwell is leaving the football club. We know that. So this is like for me, it's a bit of a weak mentality to just say, I want to go. Now, of course, you're going to get assurances at Atletico to say you're going to be playing as a centre back or you'll be playing as, you're going to be playing a lot more regular football. But if I was a player and someone said to me, you're at Chelsea Football Club, let's be honest, Chelsea Football Club for me, maybe because I'm biased, is a lot bigger than Atletico Madrid. I'd want to stay and fight for my place. Knowing the situation in our defensive line, bearing in mind, if we do get rid of Trevor Chalobah and Wesley Fofana does end up being injured again next season, that leaves Tosin and obviously Dezazi and Badiashile potentially might leave as well. That leaves Dezazi or Badiashile. I think we'll sell one of the two. It leaves Levi Colwell, and that's about it. That's about it. So if we lose those players and we don't recruit another centre back, there's opportunity for Renato Veiga to get something at Chelsea. I just don't understand it. So any player, this is what I'm saying about Sterling, so I'm saying about Nkunku, so I'm saying about any of those players that don't want to beat this football club. Find the door, find the exit and go. Because let's be honest, you know, you're at one of the best football clubs. I feel like this season is the first season in a very long time that I feel like something could happen at Chelsea. I feel like there's maybe it's off the back of the Club World Cup. Um, yeah, I think maybe that, maybe it's that, maybe because we won the Club World Cup and we played so well. But that's a very sort of small measurement of success in the grand scheme of things because of the way it was played, the players that we were playing, the teams that we played, and also the fact that a lot of teams were also in the same boat as us, but PSG were, Champions League all the way to the final, so they had a lot more, difficult games to play last season. But you still play who you play, so I'm confident. I'm very very confident that we can actually get something out of this season coming up. Rich money makers, I don't agree with all the threatening against the sporting directors, but the sporting director have to understand the fans have high standards, elite standards, but I do have faith in the owners, and I agree with that. I don't think there's many. If you look back and listen to a lot of Chelsea fans, none of them have poor, low standards. We have high standards, like you've said. I think the club have high standards. I think, but the club are very realistic at the same time as well. And look, this is not me trying to defend the owners because I'm the first person that has been very critical of them, but I praise them when I praise them. I think they have shown that they have a level of understanding of what it's going to take for Chelsea to get back to where they need to get to. They were going to make a lot of mistakes along the road because these are not footballers. They're not football minded. None of these owners, they're business people. I still think there's a lot of cracks that haven't been covered over. I think there's things that haven't been restored properly at the club in terms of upstairs, the hierarchy, and all the rest of it. But I think we're getting there slowly. Prime example is I keep saying it's the midfield. There's not a better. I mean, our midfield is solid. If we keep Lavia fit next season, our midfield is solid as anything in the in the league in the world. If we keep Reece James fit and Malo Gusto can discover some of that form, and you've got Achiampong who hopefully stays at the club, our right backs are sorted. Our centre backs need a bit of work. Our attacking options look very good, very ambitious this season. João Pedro, if he can keep up that form that he showed at the Club World Cup, and Liam Delap. We still have Nicolas Jackson there and Mark Gu. If we keep three out of those four, I think we look good this season. So I think the standards, yes, they're not what we used to. But I keep saying on here, we haven't had a very good striker since Diego Costa. Go and check out the mini documentary series, episode 19. But we haven't had a very good striker since Diego Costa. And when I'm talking very good, I'm talking someone that you know you can rely on week in, week out. We've had strikers after that that have been good, that have shown that they've got a bit of quality about them. But I'm talking a prolific animal in front of goal. That's Diego Costa. We haven't had a striker since then. So whilst I agree that the standards have to be high and all the rest of it, even under the previous owners, they made a lot of mistakes. They brought in a lot of bad players that this didn't work for us. So, but they also brought in some very good players, like this ownership have done. So I think we have to balance it out and be very honest about it. Yes, they've made a lot of mistakes. Yes, they're doing things off the field that, as Chelsea fans, we wouldn't agree with. Um, yes, they're in it for the quick money, the quick buck. They want to make money. That's what they want to do. We can't really knock them for that. As long as the results happen on the pitch, I guarantee you 70% of Chelsea fans will not care what happens upstairs. If we win the Premier League or if we win, I don't know, FA Cup, Champions League, so if we win something next season, I guarantee you Chelsea fans will not care what happens upstairs. They will not care about Paul Winston. You will not hear Paul Winstanley's name or Lance Stewart or Ed Barley or Todd Bowley's. You won't hear their names. You only hear their names when things are not going well. Reality. Let's be just being honest. I don't think we'll. I don't think we'll. Yeah, new kit colors have been released. Um, it's a very good point. Can't remember where the tweet came from, but the new kit colors for 26. I always find this odd though. I always find it odd that we're not even into 25, 26 season and we're already talking about a 26, 27 kit already. But it's blue and yellow. Very sort of historical Chelsea Football Club, as many will know. But the blue and yellow looks very good. If you haven't already, hopefully Theo is normally ahead of the curve. He'll probably have posted something on our Twitter or Instagram. I'm hoping he has, now that I've just said that. But if he hasn't, I'm sure he will. But the new Chelsea colours for 26-27 season, the colour scheme has been leaked already. It looks good. Takes me back to a couple of years ago. Yeah, a lot of teams are starting to fear us. According to my trusted sources, Wesley Fofana has been discussed in being sent out on loan to Monaco. The sporting directors believe he will stay fit. Yeah, I think he stays at the club. I don't see a way that we sell Trevor Chalobah and we let Wesley Fofana go on loan and we keep Badia Shield and Dazazi. I don't see a time or a place where that can even happen. Um, yeah, don't listen to Avalon. The briefing came from Winstanley, not known as Happy being picked in the final. Yeah, I just for me, I think we just have to see what happens. I think there's going to be a lot of conversation, a lot of talk over the next couple of weeks. I think the window shuts. I think the end of August, like start. I think the 1st of September or something like that. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of talk about players who might leave, might go, might come back in. One thing I can guarantee you, a lot of those players that have been at Cobham for a couple of weeks now because they weren't part of the Club World Cup squad. At least 99.9% of them are going. At least 99.9% of them are going. There's no way they're all staying. No way they all stay. But it's been interesting. I want to see this Simons deal get done very quickly. I want to see that done. I'd hate him to go to Arsenal. Arsenal are waiting in the wings for him. So if we don't get that deal done, because Arsenal, I hate to say this, but they're building a bit of a squad. And I'm not talking about Noni Madueke, I'm talking about their new Swedish striker that they've got. So if we're not careful, we don't want to strengthen a rival. That's what I'm going to say. Don't forget to subscribe if you're here as part of the live stream. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We're about 20 subscribers away from the 1,000 mark, which would be a massive milestone. We're trying to get there by the end of the week. Don't forget to like this video. Mini documentary series is in the playlist on this channel as well, so make sure you go and check that out as well. As always, thank you very much for joining. We'll be back hopefully later on today with another live stream. So if you're enjoying this one, you'll enjoy the next one. Make sure you tune in. We'll be back soon.